Good evening, everyone, and thank you for such a warm welcome. Firstly, I would like to thank the committee members for conducting this particular session. It is very important that every woman knows what the law is, what are the rights, and especially how they can protect themselves. So, to start the session with, there are some rights which women have always been struggling for, which eventually, after a long gap, they were considered and these rights were given to every woman. And the rights are to earn equal wages, to vote, to own a property, to lead life or to live life free from violence or any sort of discrimination, then to enjoy the highest sustainable standard of physical and mental health, and most importantly, to be educated. So these rights were given to a woman. With these rights, it was observed that women were still feeling a lot insecure, unsafe, disrespected, exploited. So when I say this, there was a need of an hour to have something legal and binding which will protect a woman. And that's where some acts were introduced wherein safety was given utmost priority. And the act which I'll be, addressing, which some of you might know, and some which definitely would be of knowledge to you. So, firstly, we speak on the maintenance segment. So, the normal trend which the society followed was a woman was always dependent on her husband. That is a male person of the house. And she was, for each and everything, she had to ask her husband. A time came when I am referring to a case called as the Shabano case, in which there was this woman who was married, who had children, and eventually was leading a very happy life. All of a sudden, her husband, after 4 months staying away from her, came home with a new bride, and it was told to her that I have married her. She was a destitute woman, she was in need of support, and therefore I have got her home. You will always be my first preference, but you will have to adjust with her. This was not acceptable to her, but eventually, with no option left and not being independent, she had to adjust with the situation. There came a moment wherein she was forced to leave the matrimonial house because of some issues that cropped up, and she had to go to her parental house with all the kids. Now, this was a game changer. For some months, the maintenance was given to her to carry on her routine expenses, eventually, which stopped. And this gave rise to an important act, which is called as Section 125 of CRPC. This act enabled each and every woman to ask maintenance for herself and her children. This was a game changer wherein a woman, if she's not maintained by her husband, she has legal right to go before law and ask for her livelihood. Okay, so this is a maintenance segment. Any question on this particular issue? If you have, you can ask. Else, I will go to the other part.
I think it's clear up to now, and maybe you could continue.
Okay, I'll continue. Sure. So the other important act, which was introduced in 2005, was very important from all aspects. So be it physical abuse, be it mental abuse, be it economic abuse, any sort of abuse. A woman was subjected to all these abuses for decades. And there was a need where, apart from the rights given to her, she is even protected. Therefore, this particular act was introduced. And we are talking about the Domestic Violence Act. So it is the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Now, what role this act played? A woman who on whom cruelty was meted out, who was subjected to a lot of ill treatment, who was not given the status of an equal family member, she could approach the court and ask for her rights. Not only this, she could also ask for a shared household, so a right to reside in the shared household. Apart from this, what she can ask is protection orders. So, of course, these categories have other subcategories in it, wherein you have to be very specific in being clear as to what are your asks. But then these are some things which you can ask precisely. Then, in this, also, you can ask monetary relief. There is something called as interim reliefs also. So, all these reliefs that I spoke to you about, you can also ask all these reliefs when the matter is pending before the court. So it is not that a matter would be dragged for years and at the end, when the judgment is passed, that's when you get all the reliefs. It's not like that. At the initial stage only, this particular application can be asked. You can, through an application, you can ask, and simultaneously, some reliefs will be granted to you. Now, most importantly, the two acts that I spoke to you about, the best part is it is not restricted to a particular woman of any caste or religion, but then it includes a woman as a whole. So, a woman being a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Parsi, anyone can ask these reliefs under this particular act. Okay, in depth maybe at a later stage, or if any questions raised pertaining to this act, I will enhance it more or clarify more on this. So anything which you wish to know about this particular act or so?
What's a shared household?
So a shared household is basically, so it's a matrimonial house, okay, where husband, wife, along with their respective family members, children, they stay. So when it comes to a shared household, so if a husband cannot arrange for a shelter, a separate shelter, she is given the right to reside in the shared household, that is the matrimonial house, with peace. So there shouldn't be any dispute, there shouldn't be any trouble meted out to her. Everything should be at peace. And in the same shared household, she is given protection. So protection from the nearest police station. So if anything goes wrong, she's subject to some physical abuse, she can get in touch with the concerned nearby police station and ask for protection for herself. So these are specific orders which, through application, when asked for, the judges do pass such orders.
Okay, I want to know like if everybody has to go to an advocate to get these passed, or they can go directly to the police station, or are there places where not so well placed women can go?
Yeah. So pertaining to the Domestic Violence Act, so under this act, there are protection officers who are appointed. The duty of the protection officer is to hear your case out, and they will help you only up to the level of filing the case in the court of law. After which, from there on, you need to have to hire an advocate to represent your case before the judge. That's how it would go. But if you ask me, I would definitely suggest that you should go through a lawyer only for the reason that your entire narration of the abuse meted out to you in all forms should be narrated in depth, and it shouldn't be just at the initial stage. So this will strengthen your case, and the lawyer will be in a much better position to then present your case before the court.
Yeah, sorry to ask this again, but
Yeah.
there are women who really can't afford lawyers. Are there
Hmm.
places where they can go where at least some level of support is provided and they
Yes.
can go forward?
Absolutely. So initially, I was working with the Legal Aid Center, which the government Legal Aid Center. I have worked as a government lawyer. I was also associated with Bapnugar, which is at Worli. So these are places where special arrangements are made for women, special leeways are given for a woman to fight their case through their appointed lawyers, wherein they don't have to shell out any money. Basically, at Bapnughar, maybe some nominal charge pertaining to the documentation or so, but then at the government legal aid office, which is situated at Bandra, and they have their office at Family Court, Mumbai, which is in BKC. They have their office set up there. You can approach them and then they will guide you to the respective person who will first hear your case. That is, a counseling session will be conducted, following which a case will be filed under this particular act.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Pleasure. So these two acts specifically speaks about how a woman can be protected from all angles. Okay. Now we shift to another act. And I believe this particular act will play a very important role when it comes to, discussion, because as against what the situation was around 50, 60 years back, women have become more independent today. They are working. They travel to different places. There is an, stay over and all. So how they can protect themselves, especially when it comes to workplace. So, yes, I am talking about an act which is protection of women from sexual harassment at workplace. This is an act which was introduced in 2013. Initially, when women started working, the place was not that friendly or safe for a woman to work. In spite of being capable enough to handle the situation, the work, they were much better than their male counterparts. But still, they were asked for sexual favors. There were some remarks that were passed. There were some, what you call, some pornography material was shared with them, which definitely made the atmosphere uncomfortable or insecure for a lady to work there. Okay, so in order to safeguard a woman's interest, this particular act was enacted. Now, what this act emphasizes more on, so any woman who is subjected to any sort of harassment, she can file an official complaint. It has to be in writing. Mind it has to be a written application to the ICC. ICC is the Internal Complaints Committee. This committee is set up in an organization in any public private sectors. The criteria for this committee is any place of employment which has 10 or more than 10 employees working under them, this committee has to be set up. Now, while this committee is set up, it is important that it is headed by a female. So, the senior-most person should be a female, followed with any other member from the organization. And the third person has to be from an NGO or from a legal background. Now, this is purely done to safeguard the interest of a woman. There shouldn't be any biased approach. And whatever the report is, there has to be a genuineness in the report. So, some of the facts. So, while if you intend to file a particular case or a complaint in this particular act, I will just give you a basic brush up. So, any mistreatment is being done, a woman can make a written complaint within 3 months from the date of the said incident. So within 3 months, a complaint has to be made, a written complaint, after which there would be a particular procedure that would be followed. But yes, within 90 days, this particular uh, matter should be taken care of, and a report should be then forwarded to the employer under whose group that particular complainant was working, and the employer has to act within 30 days. So if the person against whom the complaint is made is found guilty, then that particular person, there are many possibilities, or you can say punishments. One is they might impose 50,000 fine. The fine may double. Then there is also a possibility that he may be transferred to some other location if the intensity is not that grave. So that's how this particular act works. So I believe after this, the introduction of this particular act, the workplace has become all the more safer. But yes, at regular intervals, it is very important to have some workshops, some sessions at regular intervals so that male counterparts as well as females are well versed as to what are the rights and what precautions are to be taken. Any questions or any information if anybody requires on this?
How do you define the boss, really speaking? Because in a department or a central place, you may have levels of authority varying. So, where does one decide to go? An immediate authority or the highest authority with these kind of complaints?
No. So firstly, as I did mention, there every organization as of today, they have this internal complaint committee set up. So you have to directly approach. See, unless and until it is very basic, which would be, just staring or giving some uncomfortable looks or remarks, maybe she can complain to her direct boss. But after that, also, if there is no change, so yes, she can directly approach the internal complaint committee via mail or a return application.
Okay.
Should I move ahead?
Yeah.
Is it mandatory to have the cell in the office? Because
Yes.
whether it is there or not, we really don't know.
So as I mentioned, the workplace where there are 10 or more than 10 employees, it is important to have an internal complaint committee set up. And most importantly, every year a report has to be sent to the at the district level, so giving a gist as to any cases, whether they were heard, or just a basic report that the entire year there was no such incident that occurred. So that's how it works.
So, for most organizations, this ICC has to be registered with some place.
No, there is no need for a registration. It is just an information at the district level. So district office, there are registrars who sit there, and every year you just have to send a report there with definitely the contents as to who are the members, and if any cases were heard, a general gist about the entire case and how did the organization or the committee act upon it, what action was taken, and whether the complainant was satisfied with it. Because if she is not satisfied, then definitely she can go for an appeal to the district officer directly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
In
can
case
the
there is no, hello,
Yeah.
yeah, in case there is no issue that is being reported, does it mean that all genuinely it has not been? Is there any way to check whether they have not entertained any kind of a complaint from anyone? That could also be the case, right?
Yes. So what happens is normally, so any organization, as I did mention, from 10 or about 10 employees, it is important that you set up this committee. Once this committee is set up, you are under an obligation to send your yearly report, annual report to the district office. So that's how the entire gist of the case has to be a part of your annual report.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do if the victim is unable to put a complaint or because of some trauma, can someone else put the complaint, or does it have to be the victim alone?
Yes. So at the initial level, yes, somebody else on her behalf can address the complaint, but it has to be acknowledged by her. Maybe, and the best part about this act is everything is kept confidential. Nothing is disclosed. Rather, it's only the three members of the committee, the complainant and the accused. These are the only people who are party to the entire session. Nobody else is aware about it, not even any of the office members, but it would just send a message to the office that this thing will not be tolerated. So the identity of the victim as well as the accused is kept hiding. So nothing is disclosed here.
And this time frame that you talked about,
Hmm.
what if this time frame is not maintained? Then
Hmm.
that's when the complainant has to go to the district officer. Is that what you are saying?
No, no. So, as I did mention, that 3 months is the time, that is after the occurrence of the first incident. Within 3 months, she has to approach. Definitely, at times, women they take time to accept the situation and then take a bold step of complaining about somebody. But here also a leeway is given wherein her case is heard. Okay, there is a proper procedure that follows. So once her complaint goes on record, then it is forwarded to the person against whom the complaint is made. He will present his side before the forum, followed with she will try and prove that what was the reason of delay or she was unaware of the procedure. So she has to give justification for the delay. Might as well he will emphasize more on this doesn't fall within the forum because she has passed the timeline. So that's how things are worked.
Thanks.
Yeah. So should we move to the next act?
Yes, that would be. Thank you.
Yeah. So the next one we speak about is the POSCO Act. So, because knowing that all are women, so I thought it is important we cover this act as well because there is a child involved. Okay. So, this act was introduced to protect a child from all aspects, mental, physical, sexual assault from all aspects. Okay. So, below the age of 18 years, any wrong done to a child, the case falls under this particular act. It is, yes, a criminal case, that is the way which is in which it is heard, but it is heard on a priority basis. All the precautionary measures are taken. The child is always assisted with a counselor who will definitely take care of the mental health of the child. His parents or her parents will always accompany so that he or she feels safe around, and then it is heard in closed room. So unlike the courts that you see or come across, other the litigants are also present inside the court room, but here it would be a closed room wherein only the presiding officer, that is the judge who is hearing the case, the child, the accused at a given point in time, followed with the counselor and the parents of the child are accompanied. So that's how a protection is given to a child under the POSCO Act. Any wrong done to a child can file a case under this particular act below the age of 18 years. So then, most importantly, again, another act, we move to the divorce laws. Knowing the fact that,
Sorry, I would just interrupt.
yeah, yeah,
Regarding the POSCO Act,
yeah,
what I realize, most of the cases don't come in front. The children, the smaller ones, they're unaware of what's happening to them. They cannot disclose it to anyone. So, is there any way I feel like social workers or anybody should visit them. Maybe that there is something which is fishy here or anything. They should examine them, try to find out, because so that the maximum children can be covered by that, because they really don't know. Even the parents don't support.
Correct.
Wherever, whatever little knowledge we have seen, even when they approach the mother tells them to be quiet. So they keep on suffering. So somewhere something if can be done, like how, without the family knowing with what purpose, with what intent they are coming to check, they might come for a health checkup, vaccination checkup, something like that. And if they find that the child is behaving a little different from what normally children do feel, then they can go ahead and start examining from their side.
Yes, see, the welfare of the child is of paramount importance. But I believe as parents, it is our responsibility also to keep educating our child, knowing the fact and what the situation is around. It's not that safe or, better for a child to just be around. So, how better you communicate with your child, how better you make them aware about the surrounding and what precautionary measures they are supposed to take, especially good touch, bad touch. I think it's a good initiation which the schools have started taking from grade 2, that a child is made aware as to what is good touch and bad touch. In case of any bad touch, then they are supposed to first go and tell their parents, give them that comfort with you that anything wrong happens, be it anything and whosoever it is, be your own family member or any third person from outside, we are there with you as parents. We will support you to the fullest. And I think this is what a child first looks up to in today's world. If a parent gives the child that comfort, then I'm for sure that first a child will address this issue to a parent. And yes, very much important that as parents, if anything wrong is done, we see to it that we stand by with our child and try and make all possible effort to punish the accused and to give all sorts of reliefs or the comfort which the child needs. There shouldn't be any injustice done. So, yes, at regular intervals. So, initially, we used to conduct many programs. So, while I was a government lawyer, we used to go to different places to educate them, or rather to make them aware as to it is important to speak up. The more you suppress them, the more depressed they will be. So it is important that you make them aware, talk to them, and simultaneously an awareness has to be created, but this is taking a while because the so called the society pressure, कि मेरे बच्चे के साथ ही ये ऐसे हुआ है, what the society will say, this and that. Unfortunately, in all this mess, it's the child who suffers. So that's the reason there are special counselors who are appointed. There are special the pattern in which this particular cases are handled. So this gives a comfort to the child. But yes, parent being a guardian, see, because the age restriction is below 18 years, so they are dependent, they are not adult, so they need guardians, so parents are guardians. So unless and until a parent approaches to file a case, then only a case can be registered, without which it really becomes difficult to identify. I hope I have clarified your doubt.
I have another sort of a case, if I must say.
Yeah.
A child who is less than 18 years old.
Hmm.
She complains to the teacher that she has been raped by her own father in assistance with her own mother, permitting this to happen.
Hmm.
Where does the child go? I mean, does she go to a police station? If she's taken to the police station,
Hmm.
they may take away the parents and, lock them up, but the child is a minor. So where does the girl go?
Hmm.
Does she go to a home? And most of the homes are not, the best of homes that are available.
Hmm.
So what is I mean, this would be a case for a
Yeah.
person from an underprivileged society, not maybe something higher society happening.
No. So let's not differentiate. This is also common in higher societies as well, because couple
Yeah.
of matters we have come across, and people are being all the more vigilant now, and they're opening up. They are addressing this issue now. So yes, when any sort of this situation happens, and if a teacher is made aware of this, immediately the teacher first has to address to the principal, and the principal then has to initiate a police complaint first. So that's the procedure that has to be followed. Thereafter, the child is uh, either the custody of the child will be handed over to the immediate custodian, the guardian, that is the grandparents. Okay. If they are unable to maintain the child, or if the child is not comfortable, then yes, there are rehabilitation centers where the child will be kept and continuously monitored. And yes, the counseling sessions there also will take place to see to it that mentally the child is stable and in a better position to accept, understand, and move ahead with the procedure.
Is there a listing of these rehabilitation centers somewhere? I mean, say in Maharashtra only, or say even just Mumbai or Navi Mumbai?
Hmm. There are some centers. So maybe at a later stage, I will help you with, one-on-one if you need.
Yeah.
So I will definitely help you with these centers wherein a child can be taken there. And believe me, they are doing wonders. The amount of effort, especially the counselors are taking in to
Hmm.
get the child out of the trauma, is really commendable. So since last 5 years, I would say that the situation is changing. The kids are in more safer hands. And yes, parents are also taking good care and understanding towards the child. But yes, in these cases, it is very important that you please give good time to your child. It is very important that, every night you have a good conversation with your child. Try and understand what is going in your child's mind. A child should open up before you, be it pertaining to school, be it pertaining to any relative visiting your house. And yes, as a mother, as a parent, it is important that if at all we attend any function, or we visit somebody's house, your child, what precaution the child has to be taken. So I am a mother today, so yes, at regular intervals I keep telling, I have a daughter, so I keep telling her, in case of a situation wherein if someone comes to harm you, so the immediate weapon that you have with you is your nails. Just how much ever you can hurt him on his eyes, so you can use your leg, try and hit hard on his knee, or use your elbow. See, these are your basic weapons. At least you can free yourself from his clutches. So some things which you have to regularly keep telling your child. Then yes, about good touch, bad touch, what I told you, it is very important that regularly you keep telling, you keep asking them, you see, weren't you comfortable? Why you were sitting next to your uncle, or you were sitting next to your cousin, and I just saw haphazardly you got up from there. Anything wrong? Were you uncomfortable there? So it is important for us also as a parent to identify, because they are at an age wherein at times they might find it difficult to communicate to us. So till the time they reach an age wherein they can voice their opinion, it is important that we also go out of the way to protect them, especially in this particular segment. Yeah. Any question, or should I move to the next act?
Yeah, maybe you can.
Okay. So then comes another act which I believe everyone is very much familiar about. So we are speaking about the Divorce Act. See, it is very unfortunate. So today, if you ask me, I am a practicing lawyer and my expertise are in the field of family laws more, followed with domestic violence and POSH acts. Okay, these are the cases basically I handle. Over the years, so it's been 20 years of my practice. So initially, when I started my practice at family court, uh, There are 7 courts. Okay, the family court, which is situated at BKC, this is the only court where family matters are heard. Okay, so and this is only for Mumbai jurisdiction. So there are 7 courts. Each floor has got 1 court. And while I was practice in my initial days, so one fine day in one courtroom, there were around 33 matters. I still remember that. And that day it was like, oh my God, this particular court has 33 matters today. So it was like, itne matters hai aaj. It was like that. But unfortunately, today, the numbers have increased. From 33, they have gone to 90. They have gone to 120. So what is it that is changing this scenario? And it is not in good interest, right? We stay in a society wherein we believe in the institution of marriage. But here, somewhere, something is not going correct, right? So it is important for a couple to have a level of understanding, a level of respect towards each other, wherein mutually they can handle the situation and in a better way. But yes, if it is not so, at times there comes a situation wherein there are compatibility issues and no more they can stay together or rather tolerate each other. Now, that's the word which, the couples say we cannot tolerate each other. So I always make an attempt. So the way we handle the cases here is always a notice is being sent to the opposite party. Once the notice is served, we call them for a joint session. That is for a meeting in the office wherein an attempt is first made for a reconciliation because we believe in the institution of marriage. So there are a couple of counseling sessions that are conducted. And after having identified, maybe, yes, at some point, while we tell them, okay, this is the situation or this is the problem, so you make this adjustment and you make this adjustment, and the situation can be managed. Go stay for a while together. After maybe around 2 months, get back to me and let me know if situation has improved or not. Believe me, at times we have succeeded in doing so. And I think that gives us more happiness and we feel good to be a part of the legal system. But after 2 months, if they come back and say that, Shamita, it's not working and we don't think we are compatible to be together, then the next option, which I always suggest them, is please go in for a mutual separation. Okay. So basically, there are 2 types of divorces. Okay. One is wherein you put allegations against your spouse. Rather, whatever cruelty is being meted out to you, you put it briefly in the petition and file a case. This is one pattern in which a divorce case works. And in this, but what happens is this is a long journey. The tenure is more. The matter can go on for maybe, 5 years, 6 years minimum. And the other segment is mutual divorce. And that's where we emphasize more on knowing the fact that the court is already bombarded with number of pendencies. And to add more to it was definitely the pandemic, because of which many cases got dragged. So mutual divorce is something wherein both the parties, they mutually agree on certain terms and conditions. And these terms are penned down in the form of a document which is called as consent terms. So everything is agreed. And then with the documentation, they approach the court. It is just a matter of 3 dates. Okay, so first date you go to the court, you file the case. The next date is a counseling session. So every family court and every court has got 2 counselors, because the court also believes in the institution of marriage. Restitution, or rather getting the parties together, is something they believe in. So when the parties are referred to the counselor, it is with a belief and hope that they might reconcile. So for that, the counseling sessions are taken. Once the counseling is done, and where the clients are pretty clear that they want to go ahead with the mutual divorce, Then after a gap of 4 months would be your last court date, wherein you appear before the judge. There will be some questions asked by the judge, and once you're through the answers, the judge orally will pronounce the judgment that the petition is accepted, and from today onwards, you're no more husband and wife. Now, this is a plain mutual divorce. Now, the best part again in this is you can move an application at the initial level to waive off these 6 months. So this particular pattern of divorce takes 6 months. That's the pattern that has been followed for years. But a bill has been passed that you can waive off these 6 months. But again, there is a condition here, which then people are not aware, because most of the time when they come to me for a mutual divorce, they say that, okay, ये 6 months भी आप waive कर दो, ma'am, please go ahead with that. But waiving of that 6 months and to accept that application is at the discretion of the judge. Only if he is of the opinion that there is a merit in waiving of these 6 months, then only the 6 months will be waived off. Else, he will compel you to follow the 6 months, because probably he is of the opinion that a counseling might prevail, and they might reconcile. So this is the pattern in which a mutual divorce works. Any questions pertaining to this discussion? No. So I move ahead. So then there is also the one-sided divorce case, which I did tell you. Believe me, it really gets ugly, because what happens is you put all allegations, rather the cruelty that is meted out to you, you put everything in your petition. In return, the opposite party, who is your spouse, he in return will file a reply to this. Now, after this, definitely this case also, the parties go through counseling sessions and attempts are made to settle this matter in an amicable way, in a good way. But if this doesn't happen, then the matter goes further, wherein multiple applications are moved, that is, interim reliefs are asked. Then the argument is heard on those interim reliefs, followed with cross examination. And believe me, that is not a good task. Cross examination is something that really breaks a person mentally, because it's the emotional quotient which is involved when it comes to family dispute. So most of the time, a client may break down, may feel low, may feel depressed. So in order to, get you out of all the trauma and the years, especially, that will take for you to take divorce, it is always better that you go and opt for a mutual divorce. So this is the divorce segment. Any questions pertaining to this?
Who decides the counselor?
No, so there are court appointed counselors. As I did mention, there are 7 courts, that is one court on each floor. Each court will have 2 counselors. So as it when your name is called out, you go to the courtroom and any one counselor will be given to you. So it would be in a form of chit, the counselor's name will be written, it will be handed over to you, and you have to go to the respective room and speak to the counselor.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
So should I move to the next act?
No, one question. In
Yes.
this case, to the counselors, we have to pay the counselors also, no? The person who asks.
No, nothing. This is the court appointed counselors, and that is the procedure the court follows.
Uh-huh.
So
Thank
there is nothing payment or anything of that sort. No, apart from the lawyer you appoint, there is no other additional payment that you have to pay in the court.
In case it is not a mutual, then what should be the, whatever to be paid to the wife or whatever? Who decides that?
Yeah.
Does the women also have a say in that?
Yes. So everything depends upon. So for example, if a woman files a case against a husband claiming divorce on the ground of cruelty. So first of all, every woman has got right to ask divorce under various acts. So for Hindus, it is Hindu Marriage Act. For Christians, it is Indian Divorce Act. For Muslims, it is the Talaqnama, but then she has to take a declaration. Okay. So a woman first has to identify which religion she belongs to, and then she can file a case on the ground of cruelty, or whichever ground is, and claim divorce. This is the first thing. Once it is identified, then the standard of living of the husband is taken into consideration. So, for example, they have been married for, a couple is married for around 5 to 6 years, and the husband is earning well, he's earning around 5 to 6 lakhs, wherein the wife is just earning a lakh rupee. So that's when she can, at the first level, make an interim maintenance application. So this application is something which, till the pendency of this case, because as I did tell you, it takes years, around 5 6 years, for the judgment to come up. And till that time, she needs some funds to maintain herself. So till the time this matter is pending in the court of law, she can, through this application, ask maintenance for herself. She has to mention in detail where he's employed, what is his position, and what is his take home salary. Okay. Apart from this, she also has to mention her facts. That is, if she is employed, where is she employed, and what is her salary. Now, there is a document. So, last 2 years, the court has come up with, once the case is filed, both the parties have to file assets and liabilities document, wherein husband and wife have to disclose any assets, movable, immovable, owned by them, and any savings, liabilities, where they work, what is the income. So, all these details will be a part of this particular application. Once this application goes on record, the court, the judge is in a much better position to then hear the application and grant the maintenance as per the facts put on record. So this will then decide what quantum has to be given to the lady. As I did tell you, if he's earning around 5 to 6 lakhs, but if he has dependents on him, like the kids or his parents, everything has to be mentioned in his application. Simultaneously, she has to also mention facts in her application, and she has to prove how he is in a better position to maintain me. So maybe apart from a lakh rupee that she's earning, she might be granted another 50,000 or maybe a lakh rupee. But yes, there is also a scope for the person who is not happy with the order to go in for an appeal. So that's again another procedure.
In case it's a mutual one,
Mhm.
is there any this thing that later on the girl might realize that whatever she was given, she was okay at that point of time, because the mental trauma and in condition in which they are
Mhm.
not actually able to judge their, how to handle their life. So, is there a possibility that they can claim later on to
Yes.
increase or anything?
Yeah. So normally what happens is, when it comes to mutual divorce, everything is agreed upon, right? As I did mention, that through a document which is called as consent terms, everything is agreed by both the parties, and then they approach the court. Once the divorce is done and the situation changes, she has not remarried. Okay, this also is a criteria. If she doesn't remarry, but a situation comes wherein she is not in a position to maintain herself, yes, she can make an attempt and file a case in the court of law, claiming that now she is not in a position to maintain herself, she has no funds for herself, and therefore her former husband has to maintain her. But believe me, here the scope would be, just around 5 to 10%, wherein such applications are entertained. But otherwise, the option is open.
In the case of non-mutual divorce,
Mhm.
if there is cruelty involved, is it better for the woman to complain to police before filing the case? Or, I mean, what do you recommend?
Yes, yes. So most of the cruelty cases, if supported with NC complaints, which is non-cognizable complaint, it is always supports or gives weightage to your petition. So any verbal abuse, any physical abuse, any sort of cruelty that is meted out to you, maybe at the initial stage you might not initiate this action, but later on it is important that you have some NC complaint copies with you, which will definitely help you to present your case in a better manner.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
What's an NC complaint?
It is non-cognizable offense.
Okay.
See, FIR is something which is first information report only under grave situations wherein threat to life, or you were beaten up so badly that you got injured, you had to be hospitalized. In all the situations, there is always an FIR that is being taken on record. But basic thing wherein there is, basic abuse, you're not treated well, or there is verbal abuse and all, so you, or maybe some sort of threat or a regular routine chaos in the house, you can just go and make an NC complaint. Also, in this, now the police department have come up with a separate cell wherein, I won't say the beat police stations, but the main police stations, they have come up with a segment which is called as a counseling segment also, wherein when any female approaches the police station, so if she's insisting that, I want to file an NC, they make an effort to ask her that it's only NC or you want us to initiate any action. The action need not be immediate arrest or anything of that sort, but then an attempt to call the opposite party to the police station, and the counselor, that is a female police officer who is in a better state of mind to address this problem. So before her, the matter is kept, the matter is heard, and again here a proper settlement, understanding, all these things are tried, tested, and at times, yes, it works. If not, then just make an NC complaint and push off. That's how you can do.
If a lady seeks reasons for divorce, not because her husband was bad, but because the atmosphere at home through in-laws, etc., was so deplorable and she was not getting support from the husband, what does she do?
So this is very unfortunate situation, but yes, rather than divorce, if she wants to stay with her husband, but the family, the in-laws, they are an issue, then she can go for a domestic violence case, rather, I would say, and not file for divorce. Under the domestic violence case also, apart from the husband, now again, the best part about this particular case is, apart from the husband, you can have other family members also a party to the said case. So in-laws, extended family members, whosoever has harassed a woman can be made a party to the said case, and they are called for each and every date. Now the best part here is, initially counseling sessions were not heard at in this particular matter, that is a domestic violence case, but knowing the gravity of the case and knowing the fact that the entire family of the husband is involved, so most of the time the parties are referred to the counselor now, and they try and definitely make an attempt to see if settlement can happen. If not, then the matter is heard further.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Again, couple of things. As I did mention that apart from the counselors in the family court, there are also mediators appointed. So mediators are basically experienced lawyers before whom the matter is kept. At times, the mediators can be the judge also. So if your matter is heard in courtroom number 2, as a mediator, it would be courtroom number 4 judge before whom the matter would be assigned. And the judge personally, does a counseling session, hears both the party, and try and see how settlement can be arrived at. And believe me, they are really good at it. Because in many of my matters, because as my expertise are in family matters, so many of my matters, they go up before the judge, and the way they counsel you, the way they counsel the clients, they make them understand and try and get them to a proper settlement, convince the male person, to give maximum benefit to the lady. Tell the lady, this is the only adjustment that you have to do, otherwise your husband is good. So it's a wonderful way of counseling and settling the matter. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
it's clear.
Hmm. Anything else? See, because there are multiple acts, so any questions which are there in your mind pertaining to the discussion we had, or anything apart from this on the legal front, let me know. I will address those as well.
I just want to know, as a legal advocate, and do you also have to have training in clinical psychology? Because
No,
from family matters and so forth, I'm sure that would be of consequence, or you learn it along as experience.
yes, yes. So on a personal front, I from day one I started working for the legal aid department, and believe me, the number of cases that I have come across, the categories of cases, so be it from the lower section from to the higher section. So I got exposure to all forms of cases, categories and all. So that really helped me to enhance and understand the situation. Believe me, when it comes to family matters, the most troubling part or the disturbing part is when a child is involved, when the parties, they use the child as a weapon to trouble each other. So that is something which we emphasize more on, that let not the child be used as a weapon, and keep the child away. Let the child get the love and affection of a parent with whom the custody is not going to be. So give the access, cooperate when it comes to access part, and just focus on the well-being of the child, as parents. Rest, as spouse or as a couple, you can part ways. Yeah. Any other question?
I can keep going on asking questions, but
No, no.
I just wonder how good is government aid in all these issues? Because in particular, we recently were looking at adolescents requiring assistance, whether it be women or so, and the government has now started what are one-stop centers and so forth, and which was supposed to be a necessity for the adolescents in particular who go through very difficult times. What is your opinion, and how far is it really taking shape in this country? Because they've been talking about it from 2014, and now it's a good 10 years
10
since
years.
anything has happened.
Yes, yes. Yes, it is very unfortunate that everything is taking good time. Any reformation or any change is taking its own little time. But if you ask me, the government legal aid offices, they are really working hard to give best of the legal support to a woman. So my association with the legal aid was for almost 10 to 12 years. In these 12 years, believe me, once in a week, I was supposed to visit the legal aid office for counseling sessions. The counseling session starts from 3 o'clock. So every Friday, I used to be there from 3 o'clock. Believe me, the session actually timing was 3 to 5, max 5:30. I used to be in the legal aid office from 3 to 6:30, max 7 o'clock. So that's what, the number of cases were. But simultaneously, the cases were assigned in a very good pattern. During my time, there were at least 24 lawyers who were on the panel. And every day, some or the other lawyer were assigned their respective days and time. And personally, the matters were addressed. And they just, even as I did mention, that we were supposed to attend the matter on their respective date. And when we visit the counselor's room, the next week, we have to give an update. Okay, in this particular case, I did attend the matter, and this is the progress that did take place. So the president was always very much active in taking updates from us. So tremendous pattern of handling the situation. But yes, for everything it takes time, and things will improve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I'm sure there are lots more questions, but for want of time, I think the Priya
Just I want
decide.
to thank her for giving such clear explanation for everybody. It's
Yeah.
very good.
Pleasure,
And
pleasure.
is there any law for proper treatment to old parents?
Yes, so when it comes to parents, especially maintenance, there is an act which is called as the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act. So if any parent is not being maintained by his children, so you can file a case under this act and claim maintenance for yourself. Every child is under an obligation to maintain his parents. So, under this particular act, you can definitely claim the relief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice explanation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, any questions revolving around the discussion that we had? Else, uh, Tia ji, we can, you let me know what next.